Welcome to Valerie's art class. Welcome everyone to Valerie's art class. This is what we're going to be painting today. Step-by-step instructions. First you get your canvas, and then always remember this is similar to what we're going to paint today. But remember, when we do our painting, we always do our backgrounds first. So we're going to work on the sky first, then we're going to work on the ocean. Then we're going to work on our land to put our... Then we're going to work on our land to put our lighthouse on. This is some of the colors that we're going to be using. We have a bright marine blue. And then we have a light sky blue. I love this company. They make really good paints. They're not too thin and they're not too thick. Great for painting. And then we're going to use sap green. Okay, so sap green is a really good color. When you mix it with blues and you mix it with whites, there's my white. And you can make great water with it. And tree leaves. That always is good too. That's the bottle I almost spilled the other day and I had a mess to clean up, but I think I got the lid on there pretty good this time. So we're good to get started. Make sure your canvas is clean. Anything that falls on it, brush it off. Oh yeah, and this is our brown. It just says regular brown. This is the brown I used the last art class. I like this color brown because it's a dark, rich brown. You could add white to it and lighten it up, or you can add a little bit of blue to make it darker. It's really a good color. Okay. First, we're going to start on our sky, but we're going to put our gloves on. Only because I'm going out this afternoon, and I'm going to a lunch, and I don't really want to have to get paint all over my hands. So it's always good to put some gloves on when you get ready to do your painting. All right. So now we got our gloves on. So let's get started. On my palette, I'm going to put all three colors, blue, dark blue, and white. That's to get my sky. And I also are going to show you how to do a sky using a sponge. I love to use the sponges because the sponges make such cool effects. And I'll show you how that's done. Here's the sponge I'm going to use today. I want to make sure that it's nice and soft. And I'm going to show you how you can tap out your sky. So I'm going to mix all three colors for my sky, all on one sponge. Look at there, and some white. And then I'm going to start tapping. but I'm going to start with the dark side first. And then you can turn it and twist it, and you can make it go in all different directions. But you start tapping away and watch the magic happen. Here you can do a little bit darker in the corner if you want, and then you can add a little more white, and you can lighten it up, and all different colors in the sky. It's beautiful. Look at how that's coming out. Tell me you don't like that sky. That's gorgeous. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to lighten it and darken it in different spots depending on what paint I put on this little sponge. And I'm going to create my clouds and everything else. So just watch along. You can do this. Just remember to just tap, tap, tap. And if you don't like it, just tap over it. And you can keep on going. It's beautiful. Now I'm going to use a little bit more white, and I'm going to highlight my cloud area. I use the edge a lot, but tapping until you can get it the way you like it, that's what you want to keep on doing. And just do your sky to the way you like it. You know, pretend that you're out there and you're looking up at the sky, and this is how you want it to look to you. Majestic and beautiful and all pretty little clouds. Those are the 3 colors that I've used. And I've managed to make this sky look so amazing. And like I said, if you don't like something, then just go over it a little bit. And so now I'm just using a little bit of white that's left on my brush, and I'm going to just tap in certain areas to make it look like it's cloudy, but yet beautiful blue sky. So what do you think? I think it looks amazing. So now with my blues out and my white, I'm going to add my dark green, sap green, and I'm going to mix all those colors together and use my my sponge, to also create my water, to start my water. Now everyone knows that ocean water has a little bit of green in it because it's the reflection of the sun and the earth into the water. That's the reason why it's always some type of a green. On sunny days it could look a brighter green, and on cloudy days it can look almost black. Making water is not the easiest thing in the world, but I'm going to show you a beginner's way to make your water where people will know that it's water. It won't be perfect because we're not professional painters. We're becoming professional painters. We're beginning. This is for beginners. And all of you beginners can do this. I know you can. It's relaxing. It's fun to follow along. But that's how I'm starting my water. Do you see how dark green that is? Of course, when I get done, it's not going to look that dark, but you'll see. I'm going to add a little white to it, a little blue, and I'm going to make my water come alive. So paint along with me. Let's get our water done. Now, when you're doing this, it's going to be hard to decide on what color you want more of and what color you want less of. It's just an experiment, so play with it. You know, just make sure you blend your colors in. Some are going to be darker than others, but that's okay because you're making an ocean, and oceans are different colors too. I always like to blend all of my colors together to try to create what I want and what I'm looking for. So follow along. I know you can do this. Just play with the color. If you get too dark, put a little light in it. Put a little white. White always makes things lighter. So you get dark green and light green and a little bit of blue, and here you go. Ocean is coming alive. I love these sponge brushes. I get them at Dollar Tree for $1.25, and I get a bag of them, and there's different sizes, and just so fun to paint with. So if you ever want to do sponges, just go to Dollar Tree and get some. We're almost done with this ocean. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight towards the top where it is going to show from the sunlight. And then, of course, where I'm going to put my island to put my lighthouse on. So there you go. Looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of shimmer with the white to give it a little bit more depth. You'll see how it comes out. You'll see what I'm saying. I'm just using like the edge with a little bit of white. Kind of looking choppy, a choppy ocean maybe. Yeah. See, now I'm going to form the land like this rock. I gotta go wash out my sponge and get ready for doing my rock. Okay. This time I'm going to use a little square brush like I used before when I was doing some of the edging, but this is a size brush I'm going to use to create my rock that I want my lighthouse to set on. So I'm going to use brown paint. I'm going to try to do all of it in dark brown paint, a little bit of white, try to make it look rocky. But before I start, I used a little bit of water and I'm trying to smooth out my water edges. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just smoothing it out before it dries completely. It makes a big difference when it's smooth. So I put a little water in the brush and I'm just dragging the paint along to make a smoother line. Now I've added a little bit of white to it because I want to make it look like it's farther away. So I'm trying to give it a little perspective so that when you look at it, you can tell that it goes to the end of the earth like it would in real life. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to use white and scrape all around it. And then I'm going to form my rocks to put my lighthouse on, as I'm doing here. Now remember, this is a step that I'm doing on top of the water. I'm adding rocks and a mountain kind of aspect so that the lighthouse will sit on some rocks and everything. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a little water so that I can spread the paint because the brown is quite thick. So I'm going to use more than brown. I'm going to use a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, and I'm going to create this rock that I'm going to put the lighthouse on top of. So like I said before, you always want to mix more than one color whenever you're doing something, and this gives it definition and it brings it 3D and it adds shadow and character. So you'll see as we go along. Right now I'm just doing the base color, and then I'll be adding darker brown and lighter brown, and then I'll be adding a little white and things like that. So you'll see the difference when it gets done. I hope you're able to follow along. I think this is a little small, so I may start making it a little bit bigger. Now I'm adding some highlights to it so you can see where the sun is going to shine. I know this video is a little on the long side, but at least I'm doing this a little bit slower so that you can follow along and that you can make arrangements to fix whatever you need to fix in the time allowed. But you should be able to complete this whole painting in one session, and this is the reason why we're doing a beginners on doing landscape, sea, water, sky, and are doing a lighthouse. So please follow along and be patient. We will get there to the end. I know if you're painting along with me that you're enjoying yourself right now. So just keep on, and we'll get it, because you can do this. I hope you like and subscribe to my videos, because when you subscribe to my videos, I have more views and more people can get to see it, and it gets out there more, and I can get more people interested in painting. So you'd be helping me out a really whole bunch. And also, any little bit of money I might be able to make off of these videos, I can use for supplies, and I can continue my art class online for all of those who can't get out and go and do art like you'd like to. So please subscribe, please like my video. I would appreciate any help you can give me to get that video out there. Okay, look at this. It's the light and the dark brown and the white kind of shows shadows, and it brings it to life. I think that looks like a really good rock. What do you think? Do you like my little rock that I'm going to put the lighthouse on? I think it came out pretty good, and I made it as big as I think I should. Now, I always go a little bit further than halfway through the painting because you want to do like things in thirds so that it balances out the painting. Okay, so now I'm going to get a different brush after I get finished checking all of this, that I got it typed to the kind of white and the highlights I want from the sunshine on the rocks, and then I'm going to start the lighthouse next. I'm showing you this by rinsing the brush out really good and using my fingers to pinch the dirty water off of it. And then I use my rag and I clean my brush. Always remember, I keep telling everybody, make sure you clean your brushes really well when you're done using them, because you don't want them to dry out and get hard. So you want to make sure that all the paint is taken out of the brushes. Now we're going to start with a different brush, and we're going to start doing our lighthouse. I might do a tree later. I don't know what I'm going to do in that big empty space, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to make sure that it dries pretty good before I finish, because if it's dry, then I can put my hands on the painting to guide me and help me make straight lines. Because if you can put your finger down on the paint that you've done and it's dry, you can use this little brush here to outline your lighthouse, and you could use your hand to hold it so that you could do it on a straight, even line. You could use your hand to guide you. That way, if you shake a little bit or anything like that, you'll find that if you use your hand as a guide, you can make your lighthouse straight. So it's very hard to do, to make it straight. So here we go. I'm going to get my white paint, and I'm going to do just white and brown. I usually use black when I do lighthouses, but this one I want to do in the brown theme, because sometimes when buildings get old and they're white, they do kind of tend to look a little dirty. So I'm going to do a natural lighthouse. So I'm going to rinse my brush out really good, because I might need a little water, because to do a thin line, you want to have a little bit water. So here we go. I'm going to do a half a circle at the bottom, because I want my lighthouse to be round. In order to do it so that it looks real, I want to start the bottom, and then I want to draw my line down to the circular part, and then make the top exactly the same as the bottom. I put a little too much water in there. I had to shake some of it off, but here we go. I'm using my finger against the table to draw my line to make sure it's straight. And don't be afraid that if you have to turn your painting around to be upside down to do the other side, turn your painting around, whatever makes it easier for you. And then you got to decide on how long you want, or how tall you want your lighthouse. And you have to take into consideration the size of your canvas, because you don't want to go too tall. You want to make sure that everything balances out good. I think that's a good length. So I'm going to go ahead and reinforce my line, and we'll go from there. You can see too, as I'm going down along my line, I'm kind of doing half circle movements to make it look like my building is round. And it's mixing in with a little bit of brown paint to give it that dirty look. I'm going to have a light side and a dark side because I want the sun to be shining on it so you can see it. So right now I'm kind of shaping my right side of my lighthouse, and then I'm going to turn my painting upside down and I'm going to do the other side. But I do circular motions. Of course, I'm going down now to smooth it out, make sure my line is straight. And then at the bottom I'm going to make a circle, and at the top I'm going to make kind of a circle. And then I'll go work on the other side and do the same thing, and you'll see how that comes out. As you can see, I've got my shape. So now I want to know, do I want to make it thicker? Do I want to keep it the same length? I've got to start the top and the bottom and get the doors in and the windows in. So it's going to be a process. I have to look and see if that's balanced out with my painting. So I think I'm going to make it a little bit wider. As you can see too, my painting has dried a little so that I could rest my arm as I draw my straight lines up. So it's good to have your painting dry for you enough to do something like that. That's the reason why I don't really like oil paints, because to do this it would be very difficult. It's hard to draw straight lines. So if you don't have anything to rest your arm on that is above your painting and to give you that control, is very difficult to do. So now I'm kind of blending it all in, and I've got the brown mixed in with the white, and it gives it that dirty look. So now I'm going to highlight it with a little bit of white. Your best bet is to let it dry so that when you use your white it won't blend in and go brown on you, and it'll give you a good highlight. So I'll do that with my windows and the side of my building as well. I'm also going to do a house next to it. I'm just basically going to just kind of like sketch it out with a little paint, and I'll fix it up later on. I just want to see how big I want to make the house in comparison to the lighthouse. So that's going to be something that I'll finish after I get done with the lighthouse, but I want to get an idea of where I want it. Now I'm going to do the windows, and I'm going to do the door, and then I'm going to use the white paint to highlight that as well, so you'll get to see it come to life. Right now I'm doing the roof of the little house and getting it where I want to get it situated, and work on that when I get done. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse out my brush really good and get rid of the dark paint, and I'm going to get ready to do my windows. Yeah, I thought about the windows and everything, but you know, I'm going to add some waves to the water before I get that, because I don't want the white paint to dry out before I have a chance to do the windows, because I'm going to use the dark brown for the windows as well. So let me add a little water waves and stuff in my water and make it look like it's splashing against the rocks. I've decided that I need to use a smaller brush, so let me go through my brushes and see if I can find one that I can do detail with. So if you find a small square brush, a lot of times you just have to do a dab and you've got the window done. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm going to get a small brush. This is the really small one, if you can see that, and I'm going to use that one to do my windows. I'm actually going to do the top first, so I'm going to follow my lines at the top, and I'm going to try to do the roof, and I'm going to turn it around because I am right-handed, so it's easier for me to do it at this angle. So I'm going to make the roof first, and then I guess the windows I'll do last. lighthouse is where you get up the top of it and you walk around and be able to change the light bulb in the lighthouse. And this is a walkway with a roof on it, and it's going to have some crossing members to hold it up, and a pointy roof or a round roof. Some lighthouses have pointy roofs and some have round roofs. So let's see how this one's going to come out. It's good to turn it around and look at it at all angles so that you know that you can get the roof so that it looks like it belongs on the lighthouse. Now, it has a railing around the outside as well, so you're going to make it a little bit wider than the lighthouse on the top, because that's where people are going to walk around to look at the light and see if it needs changing or anything like that, or if you want to just look out to the sea. Lighthouses are so amazing, they really are. Sometimes if you add a little too much water and everything, you can use paper towel and you kind of dab it and it'll take the water off of it, and then you just start over. I try here to make them as square as possible, except for the door. I make a door with a round top on it. I think it just looks better that way. And then after I get done with the dark, I get the light and I do one side of the windows to kind of give it depth and make it more 3D and realistic. I also add a few little lines, and I put a little bit of water in there and kind of brush it through there, and it kind of gives it looking like it's got old stucco or old bricks coming through. Gives it character. Right now I'm just using water, and I'm just putting it on top of what I just painted so that I could water it down a little bit and make it blend in. I'm doing the same thing with the white paint on one side. I want the sun to show on one side, so I'm kind of just using water and a little bit of white paint to give it the glow that it needs. I got a little bit over here on the blue sky, so I'm just going to dab it with the paper towel. It'll take it right off. And there you go. As you can see with the highlight and everything, it's really starting to come along. It's making it look like it's real. You could see where it's round and it's forming a shape. So highlighting and doing your dark really makes a difference. So what do you think? It's coming along. It's looking really good. See how the highlights make it look real? Okay, so now we're going to add a banister around the top, and then I'm going to start fixing my house. I'm going to start working on the house. I get the house done, and then I'll finish the top. It really is a beautiful day out today. I brought my dogs and put them outside in their kennel. Now they're in the house. But they loved it out there. So you'll notice that my house is coming along pretty good. I'm going to do the roof. Then I'm going to put in some windows in there. Get the windows. I'm sorry about that. Get my windows done in my house, and hopefully I'll get that taken care of. Every house has to have a chimney, so I'm going to put this chimney on here, and then we'll continue with the top of the lighthouse. I like adding shadows to make it look real. But you notice that this is such a relaxing and fun thing to do with each other. Just relax and take your time and paint a picture and bring it to life. Isn't this so much fun? And for being a beginner, this is really a good challenge to show yourself that you too can paint. Here I'm doing the same technique with the dark and the light so that you can see where the sun is shining on one side and it's shadowed on the other side. This is the railing that goes around where you can walk around the outside of the top of your lighthouse to check your light bulbs and make sure they're all lit. It's just a really good thing to do. My goodness, it's really noisy outside today. They're putting gravel down. You notice a lot of times when I do this and I look really close and I try to make sure that I get it just right. But I'm going to use this brush here and I'm going to start a tree. I've finished my lighthouse pretty much. So it's the same one I started when I did my lighthouse, the building itself with the white paint. Now I'm just going to put a tree in over here to break up some of this big space that I have. And I like trees, and I always like to show people how to do trees because they're just fascinating and they're beautiful. But you see why you do your background first, because then when you put your tree in, you don't have to worry about painting around your tree. You put your tree over everything else and block everything off, and you can make your tree. The brush that I'm going to use for the leaves on this tree is a very unusual brush. I don't remember what kind of a brush it is, and if you know about it, put it in the comments and tell me what you think the name of that brush is that I'm going to use to do the leaves on the tree. But I'm going to do some bushes and put some land on there so that it looks like that tree's not coming out of the ocean. Funny. But that brush that I used to do the leaves, wait till you see it. It's just so much fun. I love that brush, and it makes really beautiful leaves on a tree. So now I'm just going to highlight the trunk of my tree. Again, I'm using brown and light brown and white. And it's giving me a contrast, so it'll match everything. My rocks and my lighthouse and my tree will all have the same brown to give it like a cohesive look. Okay, so wait till you see when I use this brush to do my leaves too. I've already got some blue paint and some green paint, so I got the colors that I need to make my leaves. So I'm just going to add highlights in my tree and have it look real. With the same brush, I'm using a tapping motion to put in some dirt and grass and bushes and stuff to show that my tree is on land as well. And I will be using greens and blues to fill that in, and then I'll do the leaves on my tree. Now again, I'm going to use a little bit of white to blend in with my dark green and make a little bit lighter green, and then I'm going to add my highlights so the sun is shining on the bushes. Now, there's the brush. If anybody could tell me what they call this brush, but it's very stiff, and I use this to do my leaves on my tree. It's amazing what this brush can do. So here we go on the leaves for my trees, and I just tap. And I use different colors as well. I start with a darker color, and then I lighten it up just like I do any other highlights. I use a little white and green and lighten it up. But here we go. Leave time. This brush is just so fun to use. But you know, when you wash it out, whatever you do, don't grab the bristles and pull. You just really want to rinse it good and kind of dab it, because that brush will fall apart on you. But I love it. It just is amazing what that little brush can do. Now I'm going to use my really fine detail brush, and I'm going to add some kind of streaks in the water and just show you that it has some white caps and things, and it brings your water more to life. And then I think we're going to be done. Now here in this part of my painting, I'm just fine-tuning and looking it all over and see if it needs any more, making the waves look like it's splashing up on the rocks. And I really like how it's coming out, though. I don't know if there's too much more I could do with it. I mean, I could always add flowers and things like that. But, being a first time for a beginner, and you follow along with me and you can accomplish this, then, I mean, what more could you say? Look at that. It's beautiful. It came out awesome. See, you can do this. I know you can. And I hope I can see you again next time. And I hope you enjoyed this art class. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, please. Subscribe to my channel so you can help me grow. And hit the like button. And let that algorithm know that I'm out here and that more people are really wanting to learn how to paint. This is how you do it. Thank you, guys. And I hope to see you again. But if you look at it, you can see the water moving. It's just amazing. It really came out good. My tree, my house, all of it. And you followed along with me. I'm sure it came out just as good.